Yeah, we're live.
And after you
That's
sent
good.
me that thing that
That's
Caroline
real
did
good.
at school, I just read it to Jenna. I don't know why I found it so funny,
So,
but it gave me a good giggle.
Mm.
yeah,
Oh well.
yeah. Okay. Uh, Fox, do you have the gambling? Oh, I see it there now. Okay.
Do you see the remote for the air conditioner?
Well, Jared or Ryan, get the exotic drop. Okay. Okay.
No, it's just messing my sound up.
Fox, did you pull? Did you pull that Warwick from Zer?
No, I got it from like Powerful Reward or something in the tower.
Why is that the exact drop he had?
No. No.
Okay. Dang it.
I told Chad when I got it. We were playing together. We were in the tower.
I didn't see it drop. I didn't see it in my little notification thing.
Okay.
I'm just
I
curious
believe
of
you,
why it dropped to
but
1550. Because I know your Titan's higher than 1550.
Just barely. Just after this week.
yeah. All three of my characters are missing one slot for like the last week and a half, and
I
it's
just
absolutely maddening.
I just tried to do my Solar Titan build, and I was playing with Chad and Greg, and then I didn't even have like the solar stuff bought from Ikora.
That stuff
I
is
had to
expensive.
skip the first. I had to
It
skip the
is,
first
man.
mission.
All four
Like,
grenades
I
is
was like, I do
100K.
not want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I got my Titan and Hunter done 2 weeks ago. And there are 15 seconds. I've just been logged in on Warlock for like 20 minutes.
Must be nice. I've had to play Preservation and Vox Obscura 3 times a week.
Vox Obscura. That is painful. Get to
Yeah.
that where you plant that flag and then
Yeah.
kill the two guys and die.
Yeah, it's easy though. Fred showed me an easier way to do it. You load in, you kill stuff, and then you go left first before going inside. You kill the unstoppable down there, and then you hop back up and go back over. That way you can literally just zoom over, linear fusion the tank down without having to worry about that unstoppable at the bottom.
Hmm.
It's like what I was doing is I was just going straight inside, coming out, and then like killing the tank, and then coming down and like dealing with the unstoppable while the Thresher made its way in, and then it's there shooting at me the whole time. So this way, it's like literally kill the tank and just stand there, hop in the tank, and you can roll out before the Thresher even starts rolling in.
I tell you what, if I never see it, that the thresh of the ship, if I never see one of those again, I'll be very happy. Like there's like no
Yeah.
there's no crit, and like half the time like grenades won't stick to it sometimes, and just it don't
Yeah.
even make sense. So I just
And it's
It's
a
like
lot,
at
like
least
two tank shots to kill it.
I think so. Yeah.
2.5.
Mm-hmm.
If Holiday was shooting at it also, it's 2.
Yeah.
But if she hasn't shot it at all, it's 2.5. You can shoot it with the rockets too, though.
Yeah.
So you can like lock onto it, shoot all your rockets, go bang bang, and it's dead.
Fox probably don't have it binded.
I don't. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Jared, your Celtics are really dominating tonight.
I'm not. I can't pull it up. What's the actual score?
63-47.
The Celtics are winning.
Oh, sorry. Steph just hit a three. 66-47.
But the Celtics are actually winning. Or are you being sarcastic?
No. They're down 19.
Oh, okay.
Steph's 4 for 5 from deep.
Oh, yeah. 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 you they lost the game when Steph didn't hit a three. It's like you're not gonna win it. So
Hopefully, I get to see Bill Simmons on the sidelines crying. I would have really much enjoyed that.
I don't think you will. I don't know. It kind of feels like when OKC got to the finals.
Yeah. Yep. All right. You guys.
Let's do it, tumbling.
Yeah, I'm
I
ready.
fell asleep in the car.
Wait,
Bubba's
it
in there with
says-
me, so.
my Zencastr says Fox ain't in here.
No wonder. I completely closed out of the app.
Okay.
All right, I
Oh
love you.
boy, Ryan messing up again.
Donkeys.
What a chump.
Like a chump, hey? Squiggles, squiggles, squiggles. Okay.
Squiggly. Yep.
Love you. Good night.
Ooh, they released the Trans Pride emblem. I forgot about that.
All right. You guys ready now? All
Heck
right.
Yeah.
Chad, I'm just going to tell you, might want to pay attention to the intro.
I probably won't be.
We are live for episode 65 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is Thursday, June 16th, and I'm the Destiny bad boy, NotRyanFox, here with my fire team, who all of you CCBs know by now. Jared.
Yeah, I just played a little bit of Destiny this week, and some lines rang, that bell rang hard in my head, and just like it hasn't shut up. And when is enough has really come through a lot this week.
And the chronicler himself, chadocero.
Been just playing through that story and doing some more containments just to hear the additional lore that gets unlocked when you do it, and it's mighty interesting.
And remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can take us on the road via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell, turn on notifications, yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us a bunch of friend requests. The links will be in the description of our Discord server. Chad, I need one word to describe the sounds of the hive. Hold that.
Sinister.
Cosmo,
Oh.
guaranteed. A short show this week with that wimpy TWAB, but you'll hear more about that after we listen to the Chad. Here's your chance.
Sinister.
The sinister sounds of our intro music brought to you by everybody's favorite Link, who you can find on Twitter at LinkOfTimeG.
All right, everyone. It is June the 16th, and as Ryan mentioned before, Cosmo has brought us the TWAB this week. It's been short and sweet and to the point, and we'll go ahead and get right into it. Before we get into zones, this week's Nightfall weapon is the Horror's Least, dropping back again. So if you missed that sunset weapon, you can go back and earn it now, or wait around for the adept version when Grandmasters finally start back up in a few weeks. All right, first thing up is control those zones. Bungie's mentioned this a few TWABs ago, but zone control is returning and to Crucible Labs, and it's going to stick around for the rest of the season, except for when Iron Banner is going on. And then for us to play Destiny 1, zone control was in Destiny 1. As a team objective, the score points, you have to capture zones. To capture a zone, if you're trying to cap it by yourself, it's going to take 22.5 seconds. If you got a buddy with you, it's going to take 10 seconds. And then 3+ guardians, it's going to take 7.5. And capturing the zone is how you get points. So the initial capture is going to give you 1 point. And then you'll get 2 points for every 15 seconds you hold that zone after that. So keeping a zone has more value than initially capping it. The first team to 125 points wins. And if a team falls behind whenever it's not mathematically possible to get enough points for the rest of the game, it'll go into the Mercy Rule. So, this is the second objective base 6's game that we've gotten so far this season. So, with Rift in mind, after playing it, hopefully people have the team play objective in mind when playing next week. And I'm sure it's going to be a seasonal challenge to play so many games of zone capture and capture zones. So, how's y'all's thoughts looking into this next week?
Definitely after Rift and playing freelance and having people run past my ghost, and watching them not pick anybody up. I'm definitely I don't believe. I'm hopeful, but I don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it sounds like a really fun game type, but I think people that aren't like the hardcore Crucible mains, the rest of us are kind of over Crucible at the moment. So I don't think I'll ever get to play with the full team, which is sad because I think it would be a lot of fun.
I was talking to somebody at work about the olden times playing games, and like we used to be in those Call of Duty lobbies in high school to where you would like the full lobby was nothing but people you play with. They just join off you and you stay in the lobby playing, and it would randomize your teams. And that's what I kind of think Destiny's missing is just that sense of like community inside of PvP, because it's mostly just sweats and teabagging that it feels like goes on in no matter what game you're playing. That's just what it is right now. So maybe
do you think we see that more because where we play PC, like we don't get the console people?
Well, yeah,
I mean, it has to be some percentage of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not like that's the main reason, but that has to feed into it some.
I definitely think there's a higher probability of a player to act teabag, sweaty on PC than what you find on console. I mean, those people exist on every platform, but I think there's just a higher population of it on PC. Not to mention, I mean, we'll get into this later. It's hard to grind out Destiny right now for a few different reasons, and grinding out in PvP is not really very lucrative at the moment. All right, next up is the Pride Strike Team. They were back. They've taken like a couple years hiatus due to COVID, but this started back in 2017, and shortly after the Bungie Diversity Committee formed, and they're both a sponsor and a participant. And this would be same thing here going forward. So the next thing going forward with Bungie is that they're moving to remote work for a few years, and they're more focused on digital options for celebrating their pride. So there's an emblem that you can go unlock, and it is ML3, FD4, and D9. And also last month they put out the new Bungie Pride in the store. The pin that you can get also comes with the emblem in game, and they raised just short of $500,000 with that. So this community can definitely get behind raising money, and especially when they put out a really cool emblem and a pin to go along with it. So players can show their colors. Do you anything we need to add there? hot fix went out on Tuesday. Not like a whole lot of stuff happened, but there is some airborne effective issues that they're taking a look at. So right now, sealed arm car grasp, lion ramparts, peacekeepers, Peroutine Grease, and Wings of Sacred Dawn are not adding the AE that they are supposed to do right now. So if you're jumping in the air using one of those exotics, you're like, I'm supposed to be getting all this AE stats on my weapons, so you definitely don't have it right now.
I know. I saw Mercules on, All Hell Mercules. I
Mhm.
saw him on Twitter asking, which he's working at Bungie, saying like, hey, if you're running into something that doesn't seem right, make a video, go your build, like all your armor, basically show every single thing, because they, in order to tweak it and make it right, they have to fix what's broken. So they have to fix get the base, get a good foundation, and then they can tweak from there. So I'm sure if you had his Twitter's not hard to find. Yeah, so just go out there and make sure you send that to him, and he'll get it fixed for us.
All right, zone capture is also happening this week in trials. So if you're into that, it's going to be zones this weekend and zones next week. So that's basically it for the TWAB this week. The only thing I would like to expand on what happened this week was in Destiny with a weekly mission and a dialogue that you get from Zavala at the end. I won't spoil what happens just in case I want to step on Chad's toes of how it happens to the story, but you get a little message in the helm, and Zavala's like, when is enough enough? And they're like, we aren't meant to live this long. As Guardians, talking about the people we've seen die, the memories we've gained, and stuff like that. So, a bunch of this stuff comes to mind. It's like, all right, they kind of hinted at the final shape. What's it going to be? It's how we're going to play into that with the Guardians. And then also, like, when is the Guardian's life complete? And immortality is something that can be debated. And I don't know if anybody watched The Good Place, the way it ended. That I think the ending of that could potentially be a great ending to Destiny.
Can you give us like a 30-second synopsis?
Basically, whenever you go to the good place and you can stay as long as you want, and whenever you finally think that you've completed your time in paradise, you can move on and cease to be cognitive.
Okay.
Okay.
Was that like a sitcom or something?
Yeah. It's on Netflix. It's on Hulu. So,
Yeah.
All right. Next up is likes and dislikes. So again, this is the third or fourth week of this, and each of us give a like and dislike that we got going on this week. So I'll go ahead and start us off first. A like that I'm having right now. I have the feeling that to get my Destiny chores done every week only really takes about 30 minutes right now. It's not a whole lot going on in the game. So that is doing the public event nightmare and doing the Sever mission and then focusing one engram to get a red weapon.
Yeah, that's nice. As long as you got that unlocked quickly, because there's a lot of weapons to get unlocked.
Yeah.
My like is that the rotating raid exotics are grindable. That's something that's been confirmed. You can save boss checkpoints, and this week it's Vault of Glass, so you can sit in there and save, like just keep on grinding out for Mythoclast
Thanks.
over and over. So it's really nice. It kind of goes back to when they were getting rid of the old raids, how they just turned off the weekly and they just made it an every time thing. So for those people that don't have Eyes of Tomorrow, Vex, Mythoclast, and I think they confirmed it for Last Wish also. All the raids so far, they people have been able to grind those out. So if there's a particular raid exotic you're missing, and it's something that we like to do. Grinding out a boss is really no big deal, and it's a fun time. So I know that I have a couple of homies that haven't run like 2 of the raids completely, so it's like I'll save some boss checkpoints for them, and we'll just spend a night killing the boss over and over and over and over again for them. So hopefully they
What's
don't end up into a shifty Eyes of Tomorrow situation.
what's the hardest boss for like somebody that, like, let's say we have 5 people that know what they're doing, or 4 people that know what they're doing. What's the hardest boss you think to help people through? It would be
If
Garden.
it's not, if it's
But
not, yeah,
Garden,
if it's not Riven
but Garden
legit, then
doesn't
it
have
would be
the
Garden.
exotic.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, but
Garden doesn't have
luckily
an
it's a
exotic,
quest.
so
I think it's Deep Stone Crypt because they have to do a roll. Like with Gordon, you can just send them through with somebody. Hey, go.
yeah, that's true.
just
With
follow
the
me.
way we play now, yeah, there isn't really an actual role that means much.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're Gambit team. Like, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
But Crypt, you're like, okay, yeah, you have to pick up that red thing and shoot the other things, or you pick up the yellow thing and you look around,
Yeah.
and it's yeah.
all right. My like is that it seems easier to get to plus 15 on the artifact this season. So I bought the 10 levels. I'm currently 118. I am 97,000 away from getting to plus 15. And basically, as soon as I touch 119, that's going to put me at plus 15, which really, because whenever you bought the 10 levels, it didn't give you XP. That really puts me at like 109. So looking at that, I feel like either I don't know what's different or why it's different, but something's different. And that makes me happy because used to it was around 124, 125, I thought, to get to the plus 15. So, I'm not going to complain though.
Yep.
All right. So dislikes, I'll start with mine, like a snake draft here. I don't want to just say like the whole leveling system in general, but whenever my hunter is like legs away from being pinnacle cap, and I've done like 16 or 17 pinnacle drops over the last 2 weeks and haven't got legs, that doesn't feel real good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Forever
I don't
69.
know. Yeah, that's right. So I don't know if I don't think that we should be able to choose every single drop goes to a certain place, but maybe there's some sort of protection to where every 7 or 8 pinnacle drops, it's guaranteed to drop to your lowest slot or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Or just
But
weighs
there's
it
got to be a
more.
better way, right?
I would just make Hawthorne's the weekly bounty that you get. That's a +1. Make it to always drops at your lowest, or you could choose a slot where that one drops, and that's the only one you get to choose every week.
The clan
Yep,
one.
that's
Okay.
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, because we already know that the API can keep track of all of it. Like if you're using dim, you can hover over your armor, your light level, and it'll show you what each slot is plus or minus your current max light level, regardless of what's equipped. So we know that they have the technology to make the computer know what's going on.
Yeah.
That is something that annoys me. It happens to me every season, so I'm glad that it's happening to someone else too. Going to me, my dislike for this season is that I guess it's something that Jared talked about earlier, and looking at it on that way, it is a nice thing, but the season has very drastically slowed down. We have the dungeon, which is nice. It's something that I can do week to week and get some stuff done. I have put in a solo attempt in there, and that made me turn the game off for like a solid 2 days. Getting to second to last bell and looking at the total damage on Keitel at 404.8 million. I was right there on my first try.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Jared said, you log in, you do a single containment. If you start from 1, you go from 1 to 2 to 3, then you do a sever mission, and you go and focus an engram, and you're done for the seasonal content for that week. Now, I don't know if there's going to be, because there was a cutscene last week. I don't know if there's going to be a cutscene coming up, because Heidel is going to be the next mission next week, but we know that Gaul's going to be involved, but she was like at the end of the cutscene in the beginning of the season where like you could see her looking out at the Leviathan, and then you saw the shade, the nightmare behind her, and then bang, it cuts out. So she wasn't a part of our ritual. So maybe there's gonna be another cutscene where she gets added in, or I don't know. But I'm hoping something happens next week. But yeah, I mean, based on the story, there's only 2 more weeks of missions before the content's completely out for the season.
Mhm.
So it is
Wait.
nice that yes.
You forgot about the 7 weeks they put in between the next to last and the last week of content to really stretch it out. We're not gonna get all 7 of those consecutive weeks, are we?
No, I think there's 3 more weeks of content, and we're gonna get the 2 Sever missions, and then there's gonna be one more thing. But who knows when that's gonna happen?
So you said Kaido. You said Dominus Gaul is the nightmare for
It's her
Kaido.
nightmare, yeah.
So, do you think it's because her dad chose Gaul over her?
I want to say it's partially that. He also was her mentor. So part of that too. There's a couple of ways you can kind of spin it. Because she's the whole reason if you play the dungeon, she's the reason that or supposedly she's the reason that Gaul didn't just kill Callus. And instead sent him off to exile. So she definitely had a little bit, not, I don't want to say power over Gaul, but she influenced him enough to make a decision like that. So I think I want to hear her thoughts on Gaul and why he's the nightmare, because this whole time she's been chasing after Callus. Like since she got into our sphere on the game, she's been like chasing after her father the whole time, and all of a sudden Gaul's back. Like
So,
hasn't Callus been her whole reason for being around, and now Gaul's back? I'm excited. There's a little bit backstory in the dungeon, so I'm excited to see what's gonna come up throughout the next 3 weeks.
all right, I have a big theory, and I probably should have. I just thought of this while you were talking. So, do you remember whenever before the season came out on Twitter, a bunch of the people were like, "This is the best season we've ever worked on. I love the story. I can't believe the story's this, the story's that." Like something big's gonna have to happen, or Bungie is gonna have to approach a topic that isn't approached in video games very often. So I don't know. Was there any chance of any sort of like was Kaido abused by Gaul or something, and that's gonna be the reason for the nightmare? Because like, dude, they hyped up the story. Like they were very excited. So I think Bungie, they like to make statements, so that could be their like a statement they make, because the first 4 weeks haven't been it. You know what I mean? Like it's been fine, but not the way it's been hyped. So I'm interested on how they're going to wrap it up, but I think there's going to be a big surprise coming at us.
What if we encounter our nightmare and we can't sever it?
Well, we already we severed our stuff in Beyond Light, or not Beyond Light, in Shadowkeep.
Yeah.
And then we spent our time after that severing all of Eris's, all of them, the rest of her fire team.
Yeah.
So we 5 of them. So we got rid of ours and then spent the rest of our time helping her, which is why she conscripted us into helping them.
You could tell me whatever you wanted to tell me if happened in Shadowkeep, and I'd be like, oh, okay. Like I just don't.
I mean,
like,
technically, the nightmares in the hunts were our nightmares. So the Fanatic, Gaul, I guess the Ogre on the moon, and Crota.
Thogoth's in my
Bogoth,
nightmares.
yeah. Bogoth and Crota, he's in my dreams. And then Crota. So those are our nightmares, I guess, apparently.
I said, why is the Fanatic in our nightmares? Like they've really tried to push the Fanatic like for the last 3 years, 4 years.
Because he's like us, we can't kill him.
Not getting it.
And he's kind
we
of
just can't kill him.
I mean, he's
He
right
just
there
keeps
with
coming back.
Aldrin, the reason Cade's dead.
Yeah. No,
Well,
yeah.
That's true. That is the one good thing that the Fnatic did.
Okay.
Um,
All right. I'll get my dislike out of the way. Jeez, Fox. All right. I kind of dislike the feeling that I'm now looking to other games for like my happiness in gaming right now. For whatever reason, Destiny is not really bringing me the level of happiness and like fulfillment in gaming that I've had like the past few years of it. So, I don't really know what to look into, what to go do, and it's still stuff in Destiny I want to do, but I'm struggling. Like this is like I think I'm still season past like 80 something. It's hard for me to stay in this game, keep grinding and doing the same thing I've kind of been doing the past few
What's
years.
hard? What's hard this season is that the stuff that's supposed to keep us here is a dungeon that we've ran 10 times already, and weapon chases in a public activity event, and you need like 5 of each pattern, and they do not drop. They do not drop enough. Every time you finish a tier 3, you should get a weapon drop out of that chest, and it should have a 10% chance or 20% chance of being red bordered, and then especially if you do the dreads. What's it called, Chad? The 500
Yeah, the Orbs of
pound.
Dread, yeah.
Yeah. So like doing all that, and then opulent key, you get what, 1 out of every 2.5 full tier 3s you do. So 6. So within 7 or 8, you get one of those, and then those aren't like, it's at the point to where people are filling their inventory to let the stuff go to the postmaster. That way they are able to more efficiently farm like for red bordered weapons. And it's going to be such a nightmare whenever the Beloveds and the Ostringers are probably about 2 or 3 more weeks away from a lot of people having those and having the absolute god rolls on them. And PvP is going to be gross.
Yeah, like I want to get those red weapons done, and I just unlocked it this week. My first umbral is a red weapon, and we've been playing this game for a very long time. We got a lot of death weapons in our vault and stuff. So I'm looking at these seasonal weapons and then the opulent weapons. I only want like a very few of them, like these nightmare weapons that we're about to go over in weapons breakdown. I really don't care about any of them.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, man.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go ahead and get into that. It's time for the weapons breakdown. Last week we said we was going to do opulent weapons, but to go along with Chad's lore, we're going to do the nightmare weapons and go with them. And their trait is being while you're surrounded by enemies or by a nightmare, kills grant you health. So overall, I mean, who doesn't like some extra health in PvE whenever you're mowing down ads? So the first weapon here is Firefight, and that's a precision frame auto rifle. And I tried to come up with a PvP role for this. Not really going to be my jam for auto rifle, but I came up with small bore, high cal, hip fire, and elemental capacitor just to make it feel good, and just you can fire from the hip sometimes in like SMG range to kind of compete with like the SMG meta right now a little bit, but that's all I could see. For PvE, small bore, flared mag whale, threat detector, and surrounded. Just going to be up and close. A lot of handling, a lot of reload, and then some extra damage out there. This auto rifle doesn't excite me. I don't know if you all found this and like this weapon at all, but I mean, it's pretty easy to control the recoil. But other than that, I really don't have a lot of positives to say about it.
It's all right, but it's not real.
You can't get it to drop.
That's usually my response. There's one in your season pass.
I don't pull those until next season.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I agree with Ryan. It feels nice. But none of the perks are super exciting for me. The perk combinations on there, just like Jared said. So, I mean, until SMGs aren't absolutely melting my face in PvP, there's not much room for auto rifles there.
Mhm.
Hey, let me take the next one here.
All
uh, the Tears of Contrition, the Precision Scout Rifle. For whatever reason, I've really enjoyed Scout rifles here. The last, basically since that Servant Leader came out in Gambit, which was like 2 or 3 seasons ago. But this thing, PvP fluted tac mag, that's going to be your PvP and your PvE there. But for PvE, you got a no distractions and explosive payload. So this is kind of like a laning, one where you're going to
Mhm.
sit in one spot and look down a hallway, especially with that no distractions on there. So you kind of got to play into that. But the PvE role, I like triple tap explosive payload. Jared also has, you can get auto loading holster on it. But I prefer triple tap basically because, if you are going to be using this in high level content, the triple tap can keep that ammo, keep your mag kind of filled because it's going to take 15 to 17 headshots to kill a red bar with one of these things. So that triple tap can help. That just sounds so stupid saying that out loud. And the explosive payload does really well with like champions. Like, so it's a good gun. I mean, it's a lot like Night Watch. Kind of puts me because you could get a similar roll on it.
Mhm.
So it might be it's a different like frame though, I believe.
Yeah, not watch
But-
a lightweight frame. It's 200
Yep.
RPM. This one's 180.
Yep. So as far as I like to do the what is it, the retrofit full auto on
Mhm.
these scout rifles. Some people probably like a backup mag or something like that because the scouts aren't hard to control. So, but if you haven't tried out that retrofit full auto, I recommend trying that out.
All right, next up we have a glaive. That's Nezarac's Whisper. It's an art glaive. So I guess Bungie's gradually going to just fill out all the different flavors of glaives. I don't use glaives a lot. Don't really care much for them, but if I was going to pick one up, this is what I was going to look for in PvE. Low impedance windings, swap mag, leadful gold, and frenzy. So what I'm looking for there in PvE is just like I don't really want to spec too much into the purpose of using a glaive, and they keep throwing unstoppable glaive on the artifact. So for some reason, I'm gonna use it. I might go a double special with a heavy build. So that's why the lead for gold comes in with that. PvP, I've seen some people use this in PvP, and I can't bring myself to learn how to do it, and nor do I really care to. But the unstoppable force is kind of like the go-to in PvP. So that's whenever you get like a projectile shot, and then you can throw the shield up, and your next projectile shot, while the shield's up, it does extra damage. So that's kind of what they go for there. So tempered cross rod, light mag, impulse amplifier, and then the unstoppable force. If I'm going to make one for PvP.
I mean, if you ever want to see me get like, so I'm pretty good like in PvP about not getting upset about things.
Yeah.
Unless somebody just hits like stupid stuff on me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ever want to see me get aggravated, watch me get killed by a glaive in PvP. I get real mad whenever that happens. Next one I'll take because I really like this gun too. Without Remorse, a lightweight frame shotgun. This gun is not the play in PvP. In my opinion, I have had terrible luck getting like stuff that I feel like should be like one hit kills are not registering one hit kills. But if you're looking for a PvP role, rifled barrel, accurized hip fire grip, and elemental capacitor. If you run like an arc build, so maybe keep one of those in your back pocket in case arc comes out hot. next season, or the Fragile Focus, which is one of the newer perks that came out. For PvE, this gun is really fun if you get that incandescent perk in the last column, because because I'm having to rank up my artifact in order to get XP so I can be GM ready. I'm having to do a lot of bounties, like all these gunsmith bounties and things. For whatever reason, I get a pretty healthy amount of shotgun kills and shotgun kills without dying. And this gun's pretty fun to get it with because, everything just kind of starts catching on fire after you shoot it, everything surrounding it. So that's a fun perk to look for. Put that with Threat Detector, and then Barrel Shroud, which is kind of made a comeback here with shotguns, and Assault Mag, so you get that increased rate of fire.
Yeah, you can also get 1-2 punch in that last column with that shotgun. So like, melees are kind of pretty strong with solar, especially Chad and his throwing mini hammer. Even they nerfed it a bit, they can still put out some damage. All right, next weapon here is the Hollow Denial, which is a Void Trace Rifle. It's the second legendary trace rifle in the game. Again, they brought Killing Tally back, and we haven't seen it since 21% Delirium, and they put it on this special weapon. So for PvE, I'm looking at small bore, tactical battery, adaptive munitions, and Killing Tally. You could probably talk me into, instead of adaptive munitions, lead for gold or surplus for PvE. But if I think adaptive munitions in that third column is a valued perk, because usually a lot of guns it's in that last column, so I wouldn't mind it for that. And then PvP, again, small bore, tactical battery, and then I came up with Rangefinder and Swashbuckler, and I would pair it with a melee build. Hunters can get that throwing knife headshot. You get the Swashbuckler ×5. This thing is going to melt pretty quickly in PvP.
So this last one here, it's obviously named after cocaine, right? Bump in the Night.
Oh, God.
Like, did that jump out like immediately to you guys whenever you got
No.
it, or the first time you saw it?
No.
The first thing I thought of was like, oh, we got a cocaine rocket launcher. This should be pretty cool. But it's a stasis aggressive frame rocket launcher. You can get some pretty interesting stuff here. PvE, quick launch, impact casing, get auto loading, and then you can get Vorpal Frenzy or Chill Clip in that final perk slot. PvP, you're never going to use it because you're just going to use Gallarhorn, just like every other person in the game does, in as far as rockets go. But if you wanted to use this one because you were using Dead Man's Tail or something, quick launch, black powder, tracking, and Chill Clip would be our recommendation. Anything you guys wanted to add about the cocaine rocket?
This one compared to the Ragnarhold D, Ragnarhold D has the built-in tracking, so this one does like 5% more damage than the Ragnarhold D, but it don't have the built-in tracking. So depending on your build, I'm sure a lot of people invested time last season and got their perfected roles of Ragnarhold D, and probably just going to say, I have a stasis rocket launcher. I'm not concerned about this one, and I totally understand.
This rocket looks pretty cool though. Was it it was the Palmyra?
Yeah.
Was the rocket, right? And the Ranghild or whatever was the shotgun?
Yes, correct.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the new weapons? Chad, we kind of shut you out, man. I'm sorry.
There's no fusion rifles, man.
Nah,
Yeah,
like I get tagged in on the fusions. We'll get that next week with the opulent weapons. So.
All right, man. Get your Epicurean roll readies. All right. We're at Gambling Corner.
Yeah.
All right. So, Gambling Corner, the probably why anybody ever listens to the show is for this segment, as I've learned, because any sort of feedback is, hey, why did you guys quit doing Gambling Corner? Or make sure you do more Gambling Corner. Or I got an email the other day that said, hey, you should do all your Gambling Corners and break them out into like one video so we can follow it for the whole season. And I'm like, well, that was what a good podcaster would do. But I just don't have the time to do that. So we'll just let's do a recap here of where everything stood last week. Jared he was in first place with 13,700 glimmer. The Dokuro was in second place with 13,300 glimmer. And I was way behind them at 7,000 glimmer.
So that's the updated
so-
standings.
Oh, that's the updated. That's after.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, yeah.
So that is after our bet last week. So our bet last week, and I am way behind. You sure you gave me all I was supposed to get?
Yeah, we all bet 1,500, which you was at. Yeah,
I was down to
I did it,
4.
I did it right. I did it right.
I think I got cheated on this.
No.
So I won the bet last week. The bet was who would land the highest base overall stat point piece of armor. No mods, no masterworks. And that was from the time the podcast, from the time we recorded until the time we started recording this one. So Jared, I think I got on maybe Saturday or something. I hopped on. Jared's like, oh, I got like a 66 or a 65 or something he had said. And I thought, man, that's going to be hard to beat. I'm going to have to do some focusing at the war table or whatever, to get that high or the crown to get some high stat roll armor. But me and Chad hop on and Chad flies in. I think we had decided we were going to do the dungeon or something. And right in the tower, I was just turning in bounties and collecting like my powerful rewards and things. And I got a 69 stat roll Actium War rig. So, Chad, when did you get yours?
I got mine the next day. It's the 67 roll armamentarium.
So 67 is pretty good, but it's no 69. You know what I mean? So I won that, and I am still getting damn near doubled up by the other two people. I think Jared forgot to add my winnings in, but we'll look at that after the show. So I spoke with Mr. Vegas. So keep in mind, for those of you that aren't aware of how the segment works, if at any point we run out of glimmer, what happens is we have to sacrifice a gun. I can choose any gun that I have, and I put it up to these two, and then they decide how much that gun is worth for me to delete it. So basically, I have to sacrifice a god roll to buy back in. So, I think only one person has had. I think Jared had to give up a what's the really good sniper from the Vault of Glass raid? Praetus Revenge.
Praetus.
Yeah, I think Jared gave up like a god roll Praetus one time. That's the only one that we've had to do that with. So I'm getting starting to flirt with disaster here. So hopefully I make a good call. And this says the Conqueror Corner boys will do 3 boss clears of the new dungeon this week. The new dungeon being the duality dungeon. And Chad already has the exotic, but will Jared or Ryan get the exotic to drop out of those 3 runs? Yes is plus 300. No is minus 400.
Oh,
minus
wow.
400.
So it's Jared or Ryan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we only need one of you to get it.
Yep. So we'll let you guys
Well, you won last week.
figure out what
Fox.
you want to do.
You won last week.
Yep.
You always complain that we leave you last, so you go first this time. All right.
Well, I was going to pull the calculator up so I could see what I was going to pay out. I do think that Jared or I will get it at plus 300. So if you're not familiar with how odds work, that means for every 1,000 glimmer that I bet, I would win, or it would it would be plus 300. So it'd be like 3,000 for the 1,000 that I bet. So I'm going to do 2,500 glimmer that, yes, Jared or I will get the exotic to drop in those 3 runs.
Chad, go ahead.
I'll put 2 down on no.
Okay.
So I said what, 2,500?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So 2,500 would pay out. You would win 7,500 for a payout of 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And Chad bet 200.
2,000. Yeah.
Or sorry, 2,000. That's minus 400. So 2,000 will pay out 500, or it'll win 500 to pay out 2,500.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go 5,000 on yes. That we will.
Ooh,
Holy moly.
Yep.
wow! Just letting it all hang out, huh?
Yeah. You know, I'm the leader right now. I'm up 3K, basically on
So-
it all. So.
Daggone. So 300 wins 15,000 for a payout of 20,000.
Yeah.
So keep in mind that this was my strategy last season when I whipped you guys. Once I got a lead, I made a big bet, and then I got so far ahead that it didn't matter at that point. So Jared's
Yeah.
just
And then you made us
taking
play
the same
Gambit
strategy.
with freaking sidearms. So yeah.
Jared's like, people don't forget. Jared's like, people don't forget.
Yep.
All right. Did one of you put those in so we don't forget?
Yeah, I got it written down.
I put mine in, but yeah, you got it written down.
All right. And I think that brings us to the lore section. So I'm going to pass it off to the chadocero right here.
Oh boy. Okay. So we're gonna be talking about, like Jared said earlier, we're gonna talk about the lore from the weapons, the nightmare weapons. The neat thing is they're all individual stories. So it's not like one like entire story like the armor was last week. So it's individual stories going through. So the first one we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna talk about it actually in the same order that I believe Jared went through on the weapons. First one is the firefight auto rifle. It says, "What is the scariest part of a firefight? The whole thing." Siegfried's feet touched down on a metal grate tens of fathoms deep into the Leviathan, where snaking tunnels split into many different directions. The room is large, empty, and dark. He cycles through night vision thermal imaging on his helm, then looks up to his fire team. He can see the shimmering Elixni camouflage distort the shapes of his 7 teammates as they descend the shaft above him on a carbon weave line. He disables his own. In front of him sits the base of a robotic construct in the likeness of Callus. It is twice his height, and the bare mechanisms of its internal workings creak with age. 4 Cabal legionaries, 2 Elixni splicers, and a Praxic Sunsinger drop in behind Siegfried and deactivate their cloaks. The splicers get to work establishing connections with the automaton while the legionaries make a perimeter at the back. Siegfried stands with them. The warlock does not take their eyes from the automaton. Splice formed. One of the Elixni turns to the warlock and nods. The warlock steps forward. "Thieves skulking through my Leviathan." The automaton bellows with Callus's voice and forcibly bats away a splicer with a metallic hand. They crash into the adjacent wall and crumple into unconsciousness. The second splicer leaps back and takes cover behind the legionary as the Praxic warlock unleashes a volley of celestial fire into the construct's face. In response, a steely fist bursts through the fire smoke and crushes the warlock into the floor. Siegfried turns toward the legionaries and shouts, "Contact!" The Cabal open with slug rifles, munitions clang against the thick metal. The remaining splicer aims for the construct's exposed machinery with their arc pistol. Siegfried rushes forward, sliding to meet the automaton head-on. He ignites in solar flame and shoulder charges the construct into a chamber wall. He rolls under retaliating fist and grabs the automaton's chassis, wrestling it to spin it back to his fire team. The Sunsinger gasps, alive again. They grab the unconscious Elixni and take position amid the legionaries, shouting, "Concentrate, fire." With one swift motion, the Praxic warlock combusts brilliantly with solar radiance that emboldens the firing line of Cabal shooters and fills the splicer's heart with courage. Heated slugs puncture and the arc pistol finds its mark, shorting out one of the automaton's exposed knees. Slug rifles shred the construct's face as it crashes to the ground and frenetically crawls toward them. tearing metal from the floor with each scraping motion. The Titan raises a hand and in a burst of fiery summons summons a Devastator's Maul. He brings the maul down onto the automaton's back, demolishing it and sending molten shrapnel skidding across the floor. Siegfried looks to the Sunsinger, then the rest of the fire team. Contact down. Let's keep going. So it's kind of neat seeing a full mix of the current alliance of peoples going into this Leviathan and trying to figure things out. Next, we go to the scout rifle, Tears of Contrition. Mara Sov can feel her twin's heartbeat in the chest of the man known as Crow. She dreams sometimes of gathering him in an embrace like she did when they were children, of one ear pressed to his sternum listening. I'm sorry, she imagines she would say, for everything I was wrong. But Mara has been afforded no such opportunity, and on nights like tonight when she stares across the infinite void of space alone, she reminds herself that her brother's absence is what he desires. It's also what she deserves. My queen, a familiar voice murmurs from behind her. Mara turns to find Petra's figure cutting a harsh silhouette in her doorway. Where is he? Mara asks. The Leviathan. Shadows obscure Petra's face, making it impossible to read, and for a moment, Mara understands how others must feel in her own presence. Eris tells me he sees himself there. He sees Uldren. I know, says Mara. Because of course she knows. She feels Crow's suffering as intensely as she feels the beating of his heart. You want to go to him? Petra states plainly. You shouldn't. Something steely has entered her voice. Mara recognizes it as a warning. I know that too. Mara turns back to the twinkling ocean of stars, but focuses on the vast nothingness beyond it. Good night, Petra. Good night, my queen. Petra's retreating footsteps fade, and Mara is alone again. No, she thinks, not alone. She and her brother are together, even when they are apart. That is enough. It must be. Next we move to the glaive. Nezarek's whisper. Rise, disciple, and bear this gift with pride. Rolk, the disciple of the witness. Wisps of soulfire swirl amid the geometric growths of stasis that jut from the dusty cavern floor. The sundered remains of hive knights and thrall frozen within the crystals. Detritus of the recent battle crunch under Eris's boots. Ahead, the stark angles of the lunar pyramid rise before her. Red phantoms hang in the air and shimmer like specks of dust against its enormity. Raising her Ahamkara bone to her lips, Eris blows across its surface as if she were extinguishing a tiny candle. The world around her blurs and bends, and then she is elsewhere. The heart of the pyramid, a veiled statue, towers over Eris, vaguely feminine in form, though she is not convinced of its Apophenian silhouette. She raises her soulfire-shrouded Ahamkara bone again. Stasis encrusts its surface, much as it had years ago when she first harnessed its power. Eris turns to inspect the vast interior of the pyramid. It is quiet. It is dead. Not unlike the one on Savathun's throne world. Her eyes narrow. She clutches the Ahamkara bone in her hand again, and she is elsewhere. A chamber. It is cavernous. It is dark. Strange, bisected statues of stratified minerals line the cathedral walls and culminate at a far end before yawning opening that empties into perpetual nothingness. On the floor, a length of unidentifiable metal caked in centuries of dust catches her eye. A glaive. Eris lifts it into her hand. Striations of red illuminate on its surface and throb like a heartbeat. The glaive's power feels faint, distant, and yet an ember of something terrible burns within. Where are you? Eris whispers into the air. There is no reply. Without remorse, Solar Shotgun. No regrets. How could I possibly be his ghost after all that Uldren's done? It's a question I've been asked before. Most ghosts don't know who their guardians used to be. That's obviously not true in my case. My guardian was laid to rest under a shroud in the Dreaming City. Even if I didn't recognize his face, I would have put two and two together. Honestly, sometimes I even wonder if he figured it out before he spoke to Savathun. If what she showed him just confirmed what he already suspected. The thing is, I know a lot more about Crow than Savathun ever did. I know the smirk on his face when he pulls off something impossible, the way he flips his knife before throwing it, even the way he averts his eyes when someone praises him. And sometimes, I wonder if Uldren shared any of his traits, his habits. Maybe it's impossible for me to say for certain, but it doesn't really matter. Because I know that my guardian only takes risks when they are necessary, not for the thrill of it. He celebrates others' victories, not their losses. Everything he does is for someone else's benefit. He is humble. He is kind. That is who he really is. And it's up to me to remind him because Crow is my guardian, not Uldren. Hollow Denial. Trace Rifle. Never forget what is taken from you. Kethix, the yet proven, had spent 3 lunar orbits surveying the small village. He was not the first captain to strike here, but while others had come for killing or labor, his clutch of vandals came for something else. A light bearer resided in the village, a demon who had killed many of his friends, a demon who had shattered the captain whose place Kethix had taken. It was Kethix's duty to seek revenge, to hunt this demon and clear the death debt. Those were the words of House Devils had sent with Kethix. But to Kethix, this demon's life paid more than vengeance. It paid glory. The same glory Kethix's father Ikris claimed when he felled a light bearer in single combat, took its tiny machine and drank of its divine ether. Soon that glory would be Kethix's as well. Soon his position would be recognized for more than its circumstance. Vandals crept to either side of Kethix, maneuvering through tall grass with quiet anticipation. Where the grass died off to tilled soil and log walls, they paused, waiting for Kethix's command. He would not launch flares to declare their strike. He would not give the Lightbearer time to plan. As the rearguard dregs joined the rest of his raiding party, Kethix ignited an arc spear and raised it against the knight, the signal, attack. The raiders descended, expecting a paltry guard. They were soon met by stiff resistance. The captain tore through the heart of the village, hunting for the demon who commanded the defense. He spotted it in the midst of the fighting. Kethix strode forward, seizing a defiant human in his path, and his lower arms flung her through a burning wooden structure. Demon, he shrieked in Elixni, branding his arc spear. Before he could advance, a young human defiantly stepped between him and the demon, brandishing a blade. Kethix assessed the warrior and clicked his mandibles in laughter. Easily knocking the boy's curved blade aside, the captain taunted the youth with half-hearted thrusts that threw the small human off balance. When he was finished toying with his prey, Kethix drove the spear point through him. Kethix looked up from the pinned youth to the demon and snarled. His eyes met the demon's crackling own. The captain raised his spear to charge. That name might sound a little bit familiar to some people. He's the guy who killed Zavala's kid. That was the last memory of the captain that killed Hakim. And that's why it ends after he makes eye contact with Zavala. Because he dies immediately after that.
Yeah.
All right, so last but not least, the rocket launcher. Ryan's favorite. If you hear a noise in the dark, shoot first. I won't go again, Gornak says, throwing a chunk of bloody meat to a lounging war beast. It happily devours the meat in one bite and looks expectantly for more. Gornak is seated at a bulky metal table with 2 fellow Cabal. One is a veteran phalanx, Uruks, whom Gornak respects deeply. The other is Tal Urn, a scrawny Red Legion defector who had surfaced during the patrols of Nessus last year. Is it true our ancestors appeared on the Leviathan? I have seen their red smoke in many shapes, of a human, Cabal, gladiator, and more, Gornak says. They carry the voices of traitors, luring Cabal so they may stick knives between our armor. They called me deeper into the ship, but they know they mean to take our names, spoil our memories. Did Gorn lose his musk? Crass Tal Orn. Gornak roars at the scrawny legionary. Call me coward again, whelp. Tal Urn can call no Cabal a coward. Not when he found him in a hole under Halphus Electus. Uruk spits and turns to Gornak. Stand with me and we will survive Callus's horrors. The doors to the barracks chamber opens. You don't understand, Tal. I won't go back, orders or not. Gornak looks him in the eyes. You shouldn't go either. A hulking Cabal known as Tuk Rin with winged armor ornaments steps into the room and removes their helmet. The Empress won't like that, Tukrin growls, slamming a Bronto cannon down on the bulky metal table between Gornak and the others. Tukrin, who died and made you Centaurian? Shoving the Bronto cannon aside to cut more meat for his warbeast. One last deployment. Tukrin sees the curiosity building in his new soldiers. My commander went ahead of our squad, scouted the underbelly. She did not return as herself. Tukrin's eyes are lost for a moment in the sights he has seen. She was a noble cabal, but the spirits attacked her mind that night and she turned this cannon on us. His soldiers silently contemplate his claim. Tukrin continues, it was my kill, so now it's my command. If I go back, you go back. So besides the light bearers, it's looking like everybody in the Alliance is going into the Leviathan. And part of the, if you've been talking to the automatons in the missions week to week, part of what they're saying is that Callus, even more so now than he used to, feels like he is the Leviathan. So he can feel people crawling amongst the innards of the Leviathan. He can move it, he can reshape it, and anything that happens inside he can feel. So he's aware of all the stuff that's going on, all the missions that are happening inside, and I'm slightly frightened and slightly aroused.
All right. So Chad, overall, like seasonal weapon lore wise, is that giving us a lot of stuff compared to previous seasons?
The Nezarek's one tells us about a little bit about Nezarek. It first says take this glaive. So it's like a disciple of Rolks. So we're inferring that Nezarek became a disciple of Rolks, which is not good. As far as that's concerned. We get a little bit more backstory into the captain that killed Hakim, Zavala's child. But otherwise, it's just giving us more info on what fire team mechanics are like in an alliance fire team, with all three forms in there. It's showing us just that combination of peoples, and it shows us that the light, because the warlock puts down a well, and it heals some of the cabal and strengthens their firepower, and then it gives courage to the Elixni. Very specifically gives them courage. It didn't give the cabal that, but it gave the Elixni that. So as a peoples that had the Traveler beforehand, there might be a little bit of more of a connection there to the light. Even more so now, like besides us having what we had with previously with Misrax and stuff, this shows even more so that our supers and our abilities can influence races that are not human, that are not guardians themselves. So that's a cool thing to see. I mean, besides it being devastating and killing things, it's cool to see that it can actually influence people in the positive with our wells and probably the healing grenades, barricades, all that kind of stuff. In lore, in like the canon of the game universe, it influences our allies in the positive. So that's definitely neat to see.
Yeah.
But nothing super deep beyond that.
It'd be nice to fight alongside Mithrax and then do the hunter dive and make him radiant, make him do extra 25% damage and stuff like that. But yeah. All right, it's time for the mailbag. This last weekend, the Xbox Showcase happened, and so the question is, did anything from the Xbox Showcase catch your eye and make you excited to play it? For me, I think the obvious one is Starfield. I ended up seeing some people post on YouTube some 4K 60 frame per second gameplay, so it looked great. And I am excited to have a single player game to kind of just explore in, and you can do a lot of customizing your ship and your character. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, Starfield was the definitely the big part of the show. I thought a lot of it was it was fine, but nothing really like jumped out at me, I would say. Obviously Starfield, I wish we would have got like some Elder Scrolls 6 stuff, but I think they confirmed that it's Fallout 5 is coming after Elder Scrolls 6. I saw in like some of the press stuff after.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Fallout 5 is the first official like Xbox Series Z game or whatever, whatever kind of naming thing, like the next gen game, the first one confirmed. So usually I like Xbox's stuff because they kind of just go game, world exclusive, platform exclusive, you know, but nothing. I know they were really trying to push that Game Pass stuff. I'm surprised Jared didn't mention the Riot Games deal that was on there.
Yeah, I didn't know if that excited you all at all, but yes, that I do dabble in Valorant, and being able to have all the heroes is nice.
So Jared, so what it is, if there's like a partnership with Riot to where you get like stuff from all of or from some of their games. So one of the games Jared plays is Valorant, which is like Counter-Strike mixed with a hero shooter.
Yeah.
Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yeah.
So the unlocking all the characters, what does it take to unlock all the characters? Like if I downloaded it right now,
I think I played.
What would it be?
I played about 20 hours and I unlocked one.
How much, like, are you able to just buy them? I assume.
I think so. I definitely didn't like put any money into the game and like go through
Right.
that avenue. But I did the free to play way. Yeah, it took me like 15, 20 hours of playing. And I was probably not optimal about doing whatever special event thing. But yeah.
Right.
No, you get like automatically get like 6 or 7 unlocked. But and then
pretty good.
You start building it out, yeah.
I did not watch the showcase. I have very much been PC boy. And I just kind of listened to what they said and was like, okay, these all look neat, but I'm probably not going to play them. Valorant is probably the only one that Jared will get me to eventually play. But hoping it's still a hot thing to stream, because that's what we're going to do. You guys can all watch a scrub. My roommate likes to enjoy watching me play games when I'm doing badly. He likes to call it watch Chad die a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Just watch me die all the time, man. Makes me feel good.
You should just
I didn't have any.
Play Trials.
Oh, don't. I refuse.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I didn't have anything in particular on that one that I saw that I was super excited about. I like kind of got snippets here and then. I'm like, it looks fun, but
I forgot the name of it, but there's a game that Rick and Morty writers are like into it, and like the guns kind of talk back to you with some kind of dialogue. It looked interesting. Looked fun.
Was it something high, like Get High or something?
Yeah, I think so. And then Redfall looked interesting. I'm interested to see how it plays out and how it's just like you load in and you get to play with a group of 4 people and everybody has the abilities unlocked to just go shoot stuff. But yeah. All right, question 2.
Okay. I did forget one thing. Overwatch 2 being free to play.
Yep. That was bad.
So, all right.
Yay.
Question 2. Anybody who's honest knows that this game needs sunsetting. Will Bungie ever find a way to reintroduce something similar?
I think they're too big of cowards.
Yeah, they won't do it again. No. The only thing I could see changing potentially in the future is they completely redo armor, where all your previous armor goes away, and you get those stat points to put into bars. To where like, all right, you got a headpiece drop and it drops 62. You have 62 points to put into like mobility. Like it's just all right. Yeah, and I have 62 in mobility. It still caps at 100, but you can just it's sliders. You just slide the bars.
Oh, you're doing RPG style, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. And I could see him do that with guns too. Like if you want a hand cannon with 75 airborne effectiveness, you got to tank the range on it. Like you take the range, stability, handling down, and you're able to push it into AE. I can see him doing that.
Yeah, I could see that definitely being something. Have you guys seen the mocks floating around about like how to better display buffs and debuffs and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
There was a pretty cool one that was basically like squares that went above like the bottom left, like in between the text that pops up on the bottom left and like your gun information on the bottom left. There was like squares there, so it'd have like the kill clip logo, and then right above it, it would say like 3 seconds. So you knew you had 3 seconds left before that perk or that buff fell off. So that would be interesting because
they're have to take the OG Xbox down to 60 FOV to make that work.
Yeah, I know, man. We just need to give him like Viking funerals at this point, I think. But next question, this is probably more towards Chad. Is Zavala going to sacrifice himself?
I don't know, man. That's gonna make a lot of people very sad because people are shipping him and Keitel.
Right.
But you know what? Weirdly, I could see him doing it. But it'd be hard because it'd be like his sense of duty is that like if he goes away